first things first. What I would like to do is start with an acknowledgement of country, which actually I didn't do on the weekend because I was a bit flustered. So could you listen to this twice, please, to you? Before we start any serious endeavour, I think we need to turn our minds to the land on which we stand and acknowledge the traditional owners of that land. At RMIT, that is the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And I would like to pay my respects to their elders past and present, and to any of you in this room with traditional ownership heritage. What we're going to do today, we are going to have some introductions. I'm going to start ready before I turn the recording on. I'm going to, before the break, go through the administrative stuff, which includes what the assessment tasks are. This is actually going to be a pretty busy subject because there's going to be a little deliverable for every topic. And that's going to scare you. Jenny.
I know I'm interrupting you, but I can
Oh, please. By the way, interrupt me because I'd interrupt you in a second like I just did. Go on.
But from the point of view of the OUA, listening out their audience, hearing this stuff, the admin things and the tips and tricks before them is really helpful.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no,
I always wonder whether you listen to these ones.
Absolutely, we love all that. So, and it's really hard as an OUA when you're listening and you know that a conversation has gone on before and then the recording starts after the beginning of the class. So all this stuff about assessment, admin, okay. Turn the
so maybe, well, the other thing, one of the things we do know, and it's not just OUA, but it's face-to-face people who aren't in the room who listen to recordings too, is that sometimes we just need to make calls about what's worth including or excluding. So hopefully I'm relatively good at that, but if when we're not recording you think that there's something we should be recording, just
anything to do with assessment or admin is really helpful.
So we're going to do that. Admin and assessment, they're actually all in the same one. And then I've got some stuff in relation to our intro topic. But we're really going to focus in the intro topic on the kind of language that M&A lawyers use and the kinds of transactions and the kinds of work that M&A lawyers do. I know the subject is called ATM. I tend to call it M&A because I'm an M&A practitioner. But it's just historically been called M&A, and if you, and I know there's one terms and conditions junkie in the room at least, if you do actually pull apart the course learning guide, you will see that pretty much all of the course learning objectives refer to that word takeovers. I've been an M&A practitioner in one form or another for the better part of 20 years. I have never done an on-market contested takeover. And the number of people in Melbourne who have actually done them, I could probably name them. Like, there's actually not that many. So the way the course was originally designed, I think I said in the intro video, I love teaching this course for a number of reasons, not the least of which is this is the first course I ever taught. Come in. So it kind of, and because it's only offered every now and then, it was 2012, 2015, now 2017. I believe it's supposed to be every odd number year for a while, but we'll see how we go. It kind of gives me an opportunity to sort of reflect back on what I've learned as well about teaching. So that's nice. It's nice for me, I don't know if it means anything to you. But it's also, it's a pretty fast-moving area of the law. But for people who do commercial law, or call themselves corporate lawyers or commercial lawyers, buying and selling businesses, whether that's buying and selling shares, buying and selling businesses themselves, is the bread and butter of the work you do. So I have, the second time I taught it, the first time I taught it we had 6 full days and we spent 5.5 of them on takeovers. We're going to spend 2 of them on takeovers. And in fact, actually, we're going to spend 2 of them on the stuff that we spent the whole amount of time doing because I'm going to put schemes of arrangement and takeovers on the same weekend. So public, M&A, at the end. Essentially, the way that I've designed the course now is to kind of take us through the corporate life cycle of potential M&A transactions. So next week, we're going to start with equity funding. So how startups small businesses fund themselves, how shares are issued, what the rules are for getting started. I am very hopeful, it's not confirmed yet. Well, actually, I will have some person I want to do it. I don't know whether they can do it or not yet, but I will have somebody with practices in the area of seed funding or early stage funding to come and talk to us. I also think it's quite intensive, this subject, and I get really bored with the sound of my own voice. I think if I get bored with it, you will too. So let's get some practitioners in to talk along the way as well. So then so that'll be week 2. In week 3, we're going to talk about stock exchange listing, so going public. Then we move to a weekend, and over that weekend, we're going to buy and sell some businesses. And I'm thinking we might actually really do some mock transaction work. We'll go through what a share sale and purchase agreement looks like, or a business sale agreement. We'll think about what the different issues are. Got a couple of practitioners coming in to talk to us over that time, both on some specialised issues. I think we've got somebody coming in. On our IPO weekend, I may as well say. Got a couple of lawyers coming in to talk to you. They are confirmed. I'm a little bit worried about what they're going to say, but anyway, it should be a bit of fun. They've actually acted as my lawyers. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Anyway, I'll explain that as we get there. Then we'll go into the sale and purchase of businesses. So I'll get a general...
Is that still in week 4?
So that's in the weekend, the first of our weekends, the one in December. So we'll buy and sell businesses. We need 2 days to even touch the surface of that. And by the way, you're not going to be able to walk out of here and call yourself an M&A lawyer, right? We are just going to touch the surface of a lot of these kind of transactional things, but I want to do it very much from a practical point of view. So we'll buy and sell businesses or shares or a bit of both. I will have a couple of people in to talk to us. One of them is going to do a particular look at employee issues in buying and selling businesses, because that can be quite tricky and is quite interesting. We'll have a couple of others as well. So you won't have 2 full days of having to listen to me. And then in January, we'll do takeover stuff. And at the moment, again, not confirmed, but I think we'll have something. I think we'll have somebody from the takeovers panel come talk to us, which will be great because, it's an area that you understand, but it's not an area that I've actually done myself. So it makes me feel like a proper academic when I talk about stuff that I've never done, and I don't feel overly comfortable in that space.
The awareness of takeovers, is that a Victorian phenomenon, Australian?
No, there's plenty of takeovers. It's more that it is such highly specialised work that it's done at a particular end of town by a very small group. There are plenty of practitioners who will do the tax advice or the structuring advice in many of them, but the actual activity involved in a contested on-market takeover. So Rod Levy, who wrote the book, and his team at Freehills are on one side of pretty much every transaction, and on the other side of the transaction there are like 5 firms who do it, and they're in Sydney or Melbourne. So it's relatively highly specialised work. And I don't mean to cast any aspersions, as they say in the classics, but the chances of most of you ending up as takeover lawyers is pretty small. The chances of all of you needing to buy or sell a business at some point, even if it's only deciding whether to make an investment in the law firm that has just asked you to be a partner, that's actually quite high. So I like to sort of tip the scales of what it is that we do in favour of the stuff that you're more likely to do.
This takeover is mostly top 6.
Yeah.
Big commercial firms.
Top 6 big commercial firms. Actually, more and more they're being done by the big consulting firms, the PwCs, etc. But we'll get to that. I promise you will get everything that you need to know about takeovers, and you'll be able to read the paper and say, oh, I can't wait to see their offer statement. What they're going to do in their bid statement, I don't know. So, but let's talk about the admin stuff, because I also will record all of the lecture stuff. I have every single speaker that we've got, because this is an OUA class as well, I have their permission to record them. but we've got long classes, so I don't want to do too much talking head stuff. What we want to do is do some talking head stuff and some exercise stuff, and there's plenty of exercise activities both in the room or outside it to keep you on top of it. So, for those of you at home, that's what I look like. Aren't I lovely? That's actually what I looked like about 5 years ago. I need to get another photo taken at some point. I am sessional. I do not have an office on campus, and I don't even particularly like being here. So, if you want to contact me, the best way to do that is to send me an email. If you are, I get back to people pretty quickly. If I don't, it's usually because I've read your email on the phone and forgot to mark it as unread when it required more than 4 thumb movements to respond to it. So if you're worried that I haven't responded, don't worry. Don't be shy about ringing me or even just sending me a text. I don't pick up the phone if it doesn't suit me, but I will get back to you. My personal KPI is 48 hours. That's because I know I will definitely leave that, but I will get back to you, so just hassle me if you need to. I'm also happy to arrange consulting times. What I have been doing with my OUA classes as well is offering a sort of 1 hour online drop-in tute, which how I do it is I find a time that suits the majority of the OUAs who want to just sit around, have a chat on webcam, and then I tell the face-to-faces, and if you want to join in on that as well, to do some problem solving or whatever, I'm happy to do that. They tend to end up running sort of early Sunday evening, late Sunday afternoon, something like that. Melbourne time, that would be. Having said all of that, you asked me a question. If I think it's a good question, chances are I will share the question and the answer to it with everybody else anyway. One of the great things about Canvas is I think the discussion boards will be a lot easier to manage. One of the things I would really strongly recommend you all do, so the OUA people will have had a good semester already in Canvas, but for you, for the face-to-faces, it'll be brand new. Strongly recommend that you go and sort out your profile, put a photo there or something so we know who you are. I was very disappointed yesterday to find out that you can't change your names to your preferred name, because that would make my life a lot easier, particularly in the MBA classes. But go and have a look at that. Have a look around. In particular, in the profile area, one of the things you can do is adjust your settings. So you can tell it, for example, that you want once a day, once a week, once an hour, an update by email or text message or carrier pigeon of all of the changes that have been made, or anybody's comment on an announcement or something like that. And so you can control your own stuff. In Blackboard, when I made an announcement, I used to be able to tick a button that said, please send this to everybody by email. I can't do that anymore. You get the correspondence the way you want to get it. So I would go and have a look, and you've got a lot of granularity there. I do tend to post quite a lot of announcements, depending on what's going on, at least once a week, but depending on what's going on, there have been some things where I would be posting something up to 3 times a week quite easily. And the other thing you can do with announcements when I send them out is you can just reply to them like a discussion board at that point. So if I'm unclear about something or dyslexic with numbers, which, yeah, well, it's happened once, so it might happen again, you can do stuff about it. So, I didn't read that before I flicked it over. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself now and try and establish some credibility. Let's see how we go with that. So, I am not really an academic. That's my dirty little secret. I have a master's degree, and I have been deemed by the university to have a PhD equivalency based on my industry knowledge, experience, and connections. I've been teaching since 2012. Like I said, this is the subject that I taught the first time. And prior to that, I've done a reasonable amount of work in different law firms and places I've worked, training graduates or being involved in graduate training programs. I started off, I was admitted in 1989, so you can do the maths. I started off in large firms, largely doing infrastructure projects. I was in the resources groups initially, and so I basically was buying and selling mining licenses all over the country and in other places, buying and selling interests in mining projects. I've got to say mining was not my favourite thing to get involved in actually, but I'm a sucker for riding on those really big trucks, so I did get to go to a lot of really cool mine sites in a lot of really cool places and see stuff that was going on. From that, or with that skill-based team I was in, moved across to electricity. And so I was involved in some of the first large electricity privatisations in Australia. Gladstone was the first, and Loy and I got really interested in the technology stuff. So I am an out and proud geek. Those days when you think you might be the nerdiest person you know, you're wrong, because you don't know me. And so I got quite interested in technology and ended up working quite a lot in that space. So sort of long story short, ended up as I spent 3 or 4 years, it's probably closer to 3 years, in an investment bank that did a lot of technology projects out of China. Went back into private practice. I was a partner in a law firm for a little while. And then I went with a client of mine in-house with a project that we essentially started together, which we listed back in 2006. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, 2006, just after I turned 40. So we listed it, technology company in financial services. We had a massive project. We launched a fund in the UK 3 days before Lehman Brothers went into liquidation. So that ended up being, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever done in my life. It's definitely one of the things I'm most proud of. I learned so much doing it, but by any financial KPI, in the short term it was a disaster. In the medium term it's worked out okay, and right now actually that is probably back to where it was before the crash now. So, and part of me thinks I probably should have held on to some of those shares after all. And so my boss from there, the major shareholder there, and a couple of the rest of us, we then did another startup, which listed last year, again by financial KPIs. I'm just going to put this on the table because you look it up and you think, what are we doing? But by financial KPIs, Donacom was one of the least successful floats of 2016. We went to market at about 70 cents, which was a market cap at the time of around 100 mil, and it's trading at the moment between 9 and 11 cents on any given day, which is a market cap of about 12 mil. For reasons we'll discuss, you may or may not agree with me, share price only matters if you want to raise money or sell your shares. Quite like to sell some shares and have a mortgage, but until we need to raise money, which we will sometime soon, it's not necessarily the worst thing that can happen. But then that probably tells you some things are happening too. I'm an optimist, a bit of an entrepreneur, and at the end of the day, I take risks and they don't always work out. So in the meantime, to do all of that, I have been also had a continual practicing certificate across that time. I have a bit of a name for myself in the technology space. I do continue to work as a lawyer for other clients. I have the whole way through, even doing the other projects. Most of my clients are law firms, so I tend to do quite specialist work in either the technology or the M&A space. So that's why I get to teach technology. That's why I get to teach M&A. I don't know why they let me teach contract otherwise, but anyway, they do, and it's quite fun, and I enjoy doing it. And I also get to teach in both the MBA and the JD programs, which is sensational. And if I had my way, you would be doing a lot more subjects with the MBAs, and they would be doing a lot more subjects with you. Come on. So, I did a bit of a ring around before to work out who you were. I might actually just turn off the recording for a moment to make sure that we don't just have hours and hours of who all of you are, but I would like to know who you are, and I think you guys would probably as well. So I'll be back shortly.